Hello. In this video I'm looking at the light machines that I've developed for low-level light therapy and to go along with holographic breathing and the different seminars in holographic breathing. Here we have one of those machines. At the minute it's on clear light. In the middle it'll be kind of fairly clear and then spreads out into the other lights around, which are red, blue and green. So that's mauve, blue, here we go, blue, red, green, and that is green and red making a yellow, green and blue making a turquoise, red and blue making a mauve, and then all three colours together making a clear light. Oh, you can see the different lights in it and coming together to making more of a clear light. It's getting quite, I'm recording in nature and it's just getting a bit dark, so I'll leave this on so hopefully the video won't go blurred. So these machines, I basically developed them for myself because I enjoyed light therapy, and the ones on the market seemed astonishingly expensive. So I developed a whole range myself. Ones that for the eyes, work on the eyes, all the different colours for the eyes. There's no infrared in this, it's just different colours. This is more for the face, the cranium and spine. And there's ones for the body, it's a yellow one. And the body one's got more infrared, they've got less of a gap, less of a chamber for the light to move in. They're a bit stronger than the ones for the face, cranium and spine. So in using these, it's very interesting. When I started using these, there was a healing quality, not just of the light coming through, but to do with the shape. Now when you put it onto the body, the light and infrared and colours release stress, charge, toxins on all levels, to the spiritual. We're working with light, and that is working up through the spiritual as well and connecting to the earth. And this would break up, and because these are a cylinder, it would break up and move up through the cylinder, and the lights, in a way, they would break up the charge and it would release out. So normally if I was doing healing, I'd have to find some way of dealing with that charge, whatever it may be, or release from the person. But with the light machines it was really nice because somehow the machine managed to do that. The stress would discharge, go through the light machine and seem to be broken up by the lights in the machine, or just the light. And also because of the shape, because it's a cylinder, it attracted a healing energy to come down through the machine. So for working on someone or on myself, there's the light going in, the release of what's ever happening and releasing out, and also a channel would come in through the machine and into the room. It encouraged a connection to the higher self, or benevolent energies or universal energies, to work with the machine, which was very, very interesting for me. So you have the light therapy itself, but it also works on a spiritual level, something to do with the dimensions of the machines. And as I said, inside this is just a cylinder. So there's that aspects of it. There's the different colours. There's this face unit, and there's another. Oh, that's the eyes. Another face unit and cranium, which has another set of colours to it that also works through the nice orange there. Works through the different structures of the face, which I describe in a previous talk or video. But in making these, to start off with, I was using the same type of LEDs as the other people who were making these machines, or the same parameters. LEDs have a focus, and they can become focused like this, or they can become spread out. And it is called the angle. Actually, let's turn this up so a bit more light in the room. It's called the angle of half light. Half the light is landing in that place, and then the rest of the light is spread out. It starts off a lot of light right in the middle, and gets less and less and less and less and less and less as it spreads out till it's a smaller amount at the sides and very little at the back of the LED. And the measurement is half the light is arriving in one. And then you can get a wider lens that half the light is coming into this area, in the very focused bit in the middle gets more spread out. And I found if I used these wider lenses, it felt much more comfortable. The body relaxed down much more, and it dropped it from a kind of a high pitched feeling down into the heart, or down into the hara, or somewhere between. So this was very interesting to me. So I started using much more diffuse light, that the angle of half light was wider. And then also I started setting them back, rather than the LEDs being right against the front, as is in most machines on the market. I started dropping them back. I started giving them space, so that spreads out further. This light that's coming out, it's double the distance, it's spreading out further. And then when that happens, all the LEDs, their different cones of light, are interfacing with each other. So instead of having lots of little points of quite intense light arriving on the body, with these LED clusters you end up with a blanket of light arriving on the skin, that it is uniform rather than little bits and then spaces in between. It's the same amount of light but spread over a larger area and mixing together. And this was very noticeable when I was working with the colours, especially the blue light, which relates a lot to the kidneys, the adrenals, the bladder, and the penis and vagina. And when I was using a blue in the average range, or range they normally would be in, of the angle of the lens, very much fed into the adrenals and activated a lot of terror. We accumulate kind of fear and terror in our nervous system, which is connected to the adrenals. And for this to clear out, you kind of feel the terror in a way. But it's not comfortable, and it's definitely not the only way to clear it, because the adrenals are high up in that range. They're towards they're more to do with the higher frequencies, and then you drop down a bit as it comes into the kidneys. They're more like the lungs, and the adrenals, you can think of the brain and head, and then the kidneys are the adrenals, the bladder is more like the heart and the hara, and then the penis and vagina lower. It's the sexual organs, and grounded and connected to the earth. And as I widened the angle, it would drop down into that circuit till I found a really nice blue that actually connected in around the level of the bladder, the kind of heart and hara, still connected down through the penis and vagina, and still connected up through the kidneys and the adrenals, but it was relaxing and comfortable and could clear through the whole circuit. The same with the yellow. It was at first a bit cold. It was healing, but it had a coolness to it and a high vibration. As I got wider angled lenses on the LED lights, the feeling dropped. It also became much warmer and nicer to be with. So with all of the colours, I've done that. I've opted for much wider lenses. And also with the infrared, it doesn't make that much bigger difference with the infrared, but it does make a difference. I've opted for wider lenses, and then you get this blanket of kind of homogenized light and that's more like nature. When the light arrives from the sun, all the wavelengths are together. You've got the infrared, all the wavelengths are together. You've got all the colours, all the wavelengths are together, and it's arriving kind of homogenized, not lots of little points of light. It's spread out, and the body understands that, and the body can relax with that, and it absorbs it much more easily. So I've gone for a natural feel to these units. I have to check the time because the video only lasts for so long. So the light's got a very soft and natural feel to it that comes through these units. There's the geometry of what we're using, which encourages this whole natural energy. There's a higher energy that seems to work through them, which is just lovely and connects to that spiritual energy. So you're not just doing light therapy, it's an implement for healing. And also the LEDs, you can look at it on my website. There's a page which says new light on the brain and central nervous system, where I describe how the brain and the central nervous system, the nerves, act as a conduit for light, and the myelinated glial cells moving down through the nerves act a bit like optic tubes to carry light through them. So if you shine a light on the body, it can travel through the nerves in this way, and on another level we are made of light. It can just shine through us, and also into acupuncture points and acupuncture mirrors, and it can travel through those. We are not what we seem on the surface. We are light beings, and our bodies on one level are made of light. On one level we are made of light. And you put the lights on you and you start feeling it spreading through the whole body. It's like a light bar inside. You don't have to have it with an intensity. You don't have to have it coming in a sharp bit. It's much nicer if the light is spread out. So the LEDs, I've actually put them together, or not intentionally, I just realised I had after, in the same way as they're fitted together as the pattern of the myelinated glial cells make as they go down through the nerves. And I don't know if you can see it, the lit up lights, they are there's infrared that you can't see, and then there's the LEDs that you can see, they make like an iris in the middle, so it's a bit like an eye, which again is to do with light. And there's a frequency to these that the lights turn on and off at. Starts off 3.3 hertz, then 6.6 hertz, and 13.2 hertz, keeps doubling up, 26, 52, and then it gets too fast for the eye to see. It goes up to 78, then about 150, yeah, 150, then 330, and that carries on up till 6,600 hertz. But the reason I chose those frequencies, or to work it starting at 3.3 and doubling up, is I was programming in the let's turn it at speed above flashing at me. I did programming it in. Normally they're programmed in at 2 and then 5 hertz, then 10 hertz, then 20 hertz. That's how many times it's flashing a minute. And as I was programming the different frequencies in, there was a factoid on the radio, and it said basically that a blink takes 1/3 of a second. So the first one I did at blink speed. That's the normal speed we blink at. And then the second one is double blink speed, and it's 4 blink speed, and then it's 8 times blink speed, and it goes up. And just to have it, you know, we naturally actually have an affinity to that speed, because that's how we often see light turning on and off at that speed every time we blink. And also when I was making them, you know, I did have a picture that just came back. I did seem to be being given the information. I just got onto this journey, and I just seemed to be following my nose, and just this information was coming that they needed to be round and they needed to be natural. They need to have a natural feel. So I've used white ash to make them, which is wood. It's not burnt wood, it's actually a wood. Ash is a native British wood in lots of places, and it's white, so it will reflect the light, and it's actually my favourite wood. So they're made out of that. And also within the chamber, well, we have a chamber here. With the other ones there isn't this chamber, but with these we have a chamber. If you shine a light on something, you can see it wherever, you know, if I'm here and the light is off, nobody can see it, and I shine it on here, doesn't matter where you stand in the room, you can see the light on my neck. That's because the light is hitting my neck and reflecting off, and it will go in all directions. Some of it will go in, and the rest of it will reflect out in all sorts of directions. So the light is hitting the surface of the skin, and then it's reflecting back to the mirror on the back, and then back to the skin. It's also reflecting off the walls. So what you end up with is this chamber of light, homogenized light, that's all mixed together and slowly just seeping into the body. So it's a much more relaxed, soft way. In the body, there's a certain point with all of these LEDs, I searched for ages getting LEDs, and the point that when you put it on the body, there's a certain point where, oh yes, and just relaxes into it. So these are natural. The frequencies, these frequencies, they're in the same range as sound. I keep on having to check the time so we're okay, it's okay. I think about 16 hertz is, or yeah, around about 16, 20 hertz is the lowest possible note that can be sung or chanted. And I think it's 2000 hertz or 3000 hertz, the highest possible note that can be chanted or sung. So the actual frequency that they're turning on and off is a bit like sound. It's the same frequency as the audible register. So it's about like it's like chanting with light. into your body. When there isn't that frequency range, when it isn't flashing on and off, it doesn't have the same effect. And as soon as it's flashing on and off like that, it has an effect, and the body releases much more quickly. I feel entities leaving. You know, if I've got a cold or something like that, there's an intelligence behind that cold, and if I have it in this area, at a certain point I feel that intelligence leaving, and then the cold gets better. So they work on those levels as well. But there's something about it flashing on and off that helps, and it's like the whole frequency range, like chanting. So you know, you might think, oh well, this bit needs a low needs a low chant, and then now I think I'll put a bit of a higher, oh I'm turning the wrong one, sorry, I'll put a bit of a higher chant into it, and then a much higher chant into it, and you can clear the areas in that way. I mean, some people say different frequencies relate to different things. You know, there is that documentation there for that as well, but also it's nice just to be intuitive with it, and however you feel. So anyway, that is information about these light machines. There's 2 other videos that show how to use them through the face, the cranium, the brain, the spine, the torso, the arms and legs, the different points on the body and the different organs the different colours relate to. Okay, well I hope that has been an informational video for you. There is a free introductory tutorial to learn holographic breathing video. If you're on my website, be at the top of the page, or get a link to holographicbreathing.com. Just type that into Google, and on my website you can learn that for free. Alright, thank you. Bye bye.